So let's
Thank you.
jump into it. What is going on in the circuit system and Circuit City, essentially? What's going on with circuits and the BIA?
Thanks for having me on. I got 3 cases like usual, and I'm trying to focus on the good ones when I come on your show now, because who needs to talk about the bad? First is Oluwajana v. Garland, published by the 7th Circuit in early March. And, I always talk about the ones that, were in the last month. And, I'll give a shout out on your show, too, to Scott Pollock and Christina Murdoch, who represented Mr. Oluwajana. And it's just, as I said on the show, on my podcast, like it got me going from the onset, because really it's just not, it's about being fair. Mr. Oluwajana essentially represents himself before the immigration judge. It seems like he wants to apply for asylum. It's a little weird with the immigration judge, and then the immigration judge orders him removed. He never files for asylum. On appeal, he gets these attorneys, and they immediately they file a FOIA with EOIR to get that record. And they immediately request an extension of the briefing schedule for the BIA not to set the briefing schedule, because once that gets set, you only have like 3 weeks. And the BIA ignored that. And then a couple months later, they set a briefing schedule, and they still don't have their record. They have no idea what's going on in this case. And in the BIA briefing schedule, they did not include the transcript, which just compounding the craziness. They usually include the transcript, as you know. And so they're running blind. They file a request for a briefing extension. The BIA gives them 3 weeks, and they still don't. And then they only get their FOIA response like about a week or even less before that extended briefing is due. And they file another request, and the BIA denies it.
Wow.
Even though, they just got the record. And then they file a late brief by only like a week, I think. And the BIA rejects the brief and dismisses the appeal. And the 7th Circuit did not like that. And just to say the facts, as I said, the facts is to kind of, think it's a bit absurd and a bit unfair, although it does happen a lot. The BIA is very, very strict with granting another briefing extension, but it just shows how crazy the whole EOIR FOIA process is. And what's interesting about this one as a matter of law is that the BIA relies on the fact that they had given a briefing extension once before, and so they don't want to give another one. Mm-hmm. Even if that's proper, the BIA has authority to accept the late filed brief. And that's different than extending the briefing schedule, even the briefing deadline, even though it's like the same result. So I thought that was interesting. Even if they're going to deny a briefing extension, you can make a motion to accept the late filed brief. And the fact that they denied an extension shouldn't factor into whether they accept a late filed brief. So that was an interesting legal portion of that. The factual portion is, it's kind of a shot across the bow to the BIA, especially in the 7th Circuit, that they have to be reasonable with briefing extensions and briefing schedules. But hopefully all of this is moot, which is another reason I want to talk about the case, because I'm not sure if you saw it, but EOIR now has an email address for every immigration court and the BIA where you can just request the record of proceedings.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It just started a couple of weeks ago. It's essentially a back end to the EOIR FOIA process. Mm-hmm. You just send them an email. They don't even really explain what's needed. It's on the EOIR website. I've done it 3 times now. I got a record of proceedings scanned to me by Orlando in like 10 days.
Wow.
Like no EOIR FOIA, no nothing. I got the whole record. The individuals in a month, they sent me that. They sent one packet for the removal, another packet for what was bond. Here's what the immigration court is looking at. Here you go. And that's just amazing. That's essentially discovery in immigration court. Hats off to the Biden administration, EOIR, for putting in these ROP requests now. And maybe I don't know, maybe Orlando and Miami, the places I've done it, are quick because not a lot of people are doing it. And hopefully it remains quick even once people start doing it. But now it's been a godsend. It looks like you can't do it if you've also made a FOIA request for the record, because there is only one physical record, right? So if that physical record is at the FOIA center, it's not at the immigration court, and so they can't scan it. But it seems like the move in lieu of an EOIR FOIA, or at least the first thing to do before you do an EOIR FOIA.
I've been doing once a year. I'll do an EOIR FOIA, and they're coming out pretty fast. Like within a month, I was always surprised. They sent a CD, which I have to get a separate CD player that connects to the USB drive just for those.
Yeah.
But they're pretty fast. I'm surprised in this case they're taking that long.
That's not been my experience, and at
Oh.
least recently. EOIR FOIAs have been taking many, many months, like 6 or 7 months.
Wow.
I understand that the record center, actually, wherever they keep, especially the old cases, my understanding is literally it shut down over COVID. And so no one was going into this building to get files. You could not get a file. And so now it's back open, and they're backlogged, and COVID.
Just a note, like there's a cave or something like that was shut down. All these NAS cases that couldn't move forward. It was a mess. They opened it up. But my USCIS FOIA was after that lawsuit that happened over delays. That was successful. I'm getting USCIS FOIA responses like in 30 to 60 days. It's wonderful. It's fun to see. But then they're coming back where like I know there's more documents and they're not in there. In the case, I didn't complain about it because I knew the case as a backup. But like there's a bunch more documents and there's all this stuff I need. That was the files I even sent. I'm trying to see what they have and they're missing. So it's not a clean system.
No, we have identified 500 pages. 100 of them you cannot get.
Yeah.
B6, B7.
Another annoying thing is they're doing is if you do a marriage case, they in the petition does a FOIA, they'll say this belongs to the beneficiary, won't give it, and then we do the beneficiary request and it's all redacted. And it's like, well, how are we going to get it? Like it's like none of this makes any sense. But that's U.S. So what is there more to the case on this one?
No, I mean that's about it. They said that the Seventh Circuit sent it back. They said you got to consider their brief, and what you did was unreasonable. The BIA got some facts wrong. The whole thing is a bit of a mess, but it's a unique case, and there aren't that many cases, right? That by the circuits slapping the BIA's hand, requiring that they accept late filed briefs, talking about unreasonable delay, the BIA's duty to provide FOIA records. So it's a good case. It's a good case to have in your back pocket. Hopefully it all becomes irrelevant if we're going to do ROP requests now, but it's a good case to remember there. I like it. And also, thanks for reminding me of Scott Paul. I talked to him like 9 months ago about doing the magazine, the podcast, and I kind of lost track. I have to reach out to him. Great guy. He's in Chicago, right? He does a lot of hardcore immigration work. Yeah. Hence the Seventh Circuit, I guess.
And then the circuit numbers, I got to look at a map every time we're talking.
Right.
Seventh, which one is this? I probably should read it off for viewers too. Seventh Circuit is these places.
Right. I forget that I have this weird niche knowledge now, being a circuit watcher, where like I can tell you things about the circuits that you don't even want to know. I can tell you the times of day that every circuit is going to publish their decisions, and that is something that no human being needs to know. No one needs that information.
One thing is maybe just an idea for your show is, so we have a new nominee for Supreme Court, Ketanji, I don't know, Phillips, or I can't remember.
Jackson.
What's that?
Judge Jackson.
Yeah, Jackson. If there's access to look at her immigration history on how she came analyzed, that'd be neat. But I don't know.
So I think I agree, and I think I would have done something like that, but. So there are some entities that have done that, either AILA or AIC or both. The thing with her, though, is that she was a district court judge for like 6 or 7 years, and they don't get that many immigration decisions. Yeah. And then she was an appellate judge for like a year or a bit more, but she was on the DC circuit, so they don't really get immigration decisions. So I think she's a bit of an open book on immigration. I think that's the idea with her.
I thought DC would get a lot because like open-ended. At least they used to send a lot of the APA and administrative process lawsuits.
Yeah, you'll get an APA. They have some APA challenges in the DC circuit. I don't think she was on any panels. So again, she was only there for less than 2 years. So I don't think any of those big ones came up to her.
Very interesting. We'll see how that goes. I'm not really keep track of what's going on, but do you know, is she going to get chosen or elected?
It looks like she's getting through. It looks like Senator Murkowski, Senator Romney,
or something like that.
Don't hold me to it. And Senator, what's her name from Maine? It looks like she's got 3 Republicans and all of the Democrats. Maybe Sinema. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Is Sinema the one from Arizona?
Yeah.
When I was younger, I was like so into politics. I knew all their names, but now more and more, I'm like, forget these people. I don't want to even think about these people. Run our lives.